Hey, it's KB, and I love movies. On today's episode, I have a conversation with Twitter, I guess, internet personality Holy Elle. She is a big comic book lover, so all you Marvel fans, you want to stay tuned for this one. We're going to talk not only Marvel comics, but the MCU and how they relate to each other, and hopefully you get to find out more about her. Stick around. All right, today we are joined by the embodiment of really famous on the internet. She's a
Oh,
certified personal trainer and nutritional coach, a big Star Wars and comic book lover, also a Cardinals and Orioles baseball fan, but we're not going to talk sports today. Shout out to Turner Fan 77. Overall badass and lovely person, but for today's purposes, we are talking about her as a movie reviewer and lover of movies. Today we have Holy L coming to the conversation. How are you?
good, good. I hate
Yeah,
when people introduce me as famous. That's the
I
worst.
know it's weird, and I was very intentional about not using the I word because I know
Oh,
it could be a dirty word at times. So I said, I'm not going to go there because it's so temporal and people get the wrong impressions. And it seems like they have more fun just watching their videos when they mess up than actually watching their videos. So I wasn't going to go there. But
no.
I mean, that's how a lot of people know you. 145,000 followers on Twitter.
What's that
Yeah,
mean? I try
yeah.
not to think about it.
I know it could be a little scary, I'm sure. But we'll do movies today. We'll keep
Okay,
it with just movies.
I can do
But
that. I can do that.
before we get into it, I always like to ask a non-movie question.
Yeah.
And we're on the opposite sides of I-70 as far as Missouri is concerned. You St. Louis, me Kansas City. And I wish we could have done this in person here locally because there is a coffee house here called Comics Coffee House. And it basically combines the love of the guy of comics and his wife's love of coffee. Great cup of coffee, and he is like a walk-in encyclopedia. Even though he's younger than us, he knows like from 60s on with comics, DC and Marvel. You don't usually get that. So I can't go in there and just order a cup of coffee and go because I gotta shoot the stuff with him for a little while about something. What is your go-to coffee order?
Ah, I don't order coffee. I'm not, I am a brew at home kind of
Mm-hmm.
girl. I have Cafe Du Monde delivered to my house
Mm-hmm.
monthly through Amazon. So it's Cafe Du Monde hickory
Mm-hmm.
flavor, and yeah, I am a brew at home. I am a um, black with 1 tablespoon of Hershey syrup and 4 sugars.
Nice.
Hmm.
All right. Let's talk movies. Let's start with Marvel. I mean, Marvel, DC to a lesser effect, but still, they've become like the juggernaut of pop culture. Similar to Star Wars for us when we were coming up. A lot of people have problems, and I was mentioning this on a previous conversation with the MCU fanaticals, and I'm like, hello, did you have to get the Kenner Boba Fett toy when you were a kid? Even today, are you still rocking the Legos, Star Wars, and all that stuff? It's the
Sure.
same thing, just a different generation of fans. Being a comic book fan,
Hmm.
how do you feel about all of it?
Uh, it was at the beginning, early on, I was really nervous about it because we had had such bad experiences with the live
Mm-hmm.
action comic book interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So once it became what it became, I loved it. I loved all the Easter eggs that as somebody who's read the comics, you could find those things that just, your casual movie viewer wouldn't get, which
Right.
which is fine because I think that's the beauty early on about what Marvel had going for them is you didn't have to have read and you could just sit back and enjoy it. But at the same
Right.
time, they took their craft seriously. They had comedies, they had political intrigue, action movies. They kind of fell within all the genres. I
Hmm.
worry that now with everything that you are going to have the casual viewer tune out because they don't think they'll be able to catch up watching
Yeah.
everything. I don't care because I'll watch it. I'll watch it all. Um,
Right.
but I do. I also my other concern is them blowing through. I yeah, you're right. I mean, there's 60 something years of comic book stories out there, but I
Hmm.
worry that they're blowing through too many storylines too quickly. And maybe it's just capitalizing on, you know, the momentum of what's going on. But
Hmm.
me wishing that it would be around for decades and decades and decades, I worry that we're hitting way too many big storylines way too fast without fleshing them out.
Yeah.
And that much like the early Batman and Spider-Man movies before all
Hmm.
this started, when you would start killing off villains and you would start going through storylines, you had nowhere else to go.
Right. And
So yeah,
it's um it's interesting you bring that up because when you're talking about adapting, whether it's a stage play or a book, movies usually have the task of what they call opening up the storyline. So if it's a one set play, they open it up so that they're in different locations. Or if it's a book, they give you character development, but really don't dig deeply into what they're thinking and so forth, because that's hard to bring across on screen. It seems like superhero movies have the opposite problem where it's like we're just going to compact everything and try to put a bow on it. So if this is the only movie you see, or if this is the only series you watch, you have a completed story, and at the end there's a resolution and denouement and all that good stuff. And I could see as a comic book lover where something might be an entire series, a 12 issue series or whatever. It's kind of hard to bring all that and compact it down to a small, 2 hour or 2:15 movie.
right. Yeah, that's like with them tackling, I know, like they've got like Secret Wars and Secret Invasion. They're
Hmm.
trying to, bring forth here in the next few years. And Secret Invasion was a huge
Huge.
storyline that had ripples throughout even now today's current storylines. And I just worry that a movie is not going, a movie definitely won't do it.
Right.
And a 6 episode Disney Plus series is not going to do it. So it's like,
Hmm.
my concerns are, and again, maybe that's just being the nerd in me. Like I want them to do it right, or like,
Right.
like tackle it all. And I know you can't tackle it all, but on the other hand, that's these comic book writers, that was their craft for years, like that's,
Right.
and I get it. And I get it that you can't put everything into it, much like the Harry Potter movies. You couldn't add in everything into it, which made you go read them, which made you appreciate the books. But
Hmm.
I just, I worry that it's like you would need, I feel like you would need a good year of a lot of different series and some movies to really get a hold of what Secret Invasion had going for it.
Yeah.
And even Secret Wars coming up. I mean, those are just huge. And maybe they'll know how to do it and I'll shut my mouth, but who knows?
Yeah. Um, Comment and then a follow-up question. I remember like there were phenomenons, but nowhere as near as what we experience today when Batman 89 came out, or even the Tobey Maguire movies when they came out. They were big because it felt like even the X-Men movies to a certain extent, the early ones, it felt like they were finally doing the comic book adaptations right.
Right.
Compared to like, okay, I won't even talk about the Fantastic Four movies. I think that might turn people away from the future one because it's been done so poorly in the past. But I think that was a casting and a writing thing more than anything else. Um, but the question I was going to ask is with all the movies and all the shows, and I had a conversation with someone recently and asked this question to them, so I'll bring it to you. Do you experience any superhero fatigue, or do you take it all in stride?
Um, I really don't, just because I enjoy all the different I enjoy all the different characters, and like I said, I love the Easter eggs, and I
Hmm.
think there are so many stories to tell. I think they've done everything fairly well. I mean, like again, I came to a place where I had to understand that this is the MCU's interpretation of the comics, not the comics just being adapted to screen. It is an adaptation to the screen, but it is also their right to interpret bulks of comic book storylines and then transfer them. And I think they've done it very well. I think they've taken their craft very seriously. They've tackled the serious subjects seriously, and then they've also brought levity where it's allowed, and where it's needed. So I think I I don't think there's ever a place where, as far as art goes, I don't ever think there should be a cutoff for like
Yeah,
I think as long as it's good and it's enjoyable and entertaining, I bring it on. The more the merrier. Like don't
right.
ever stop. Don't ever stop creating. Keep, like as long as your product is good and at a high level. And I don't think, I mean, like you're gonna have hits and misses everywhere. I mean, like what do they say? A good baseball team will win 60% of the games, and a good baseball
Hmm.
team will lose 60% or 60 games. Win 60 games, lose 60 games. It's what they do with the other, 40, games that they or have. So
Yeah,
you're going to have hits and misses, but overall, how are you handling it? And I think they've taken some really huge subject matters, and like with Moon Knight and mental illness, I think they've handled it greatly. I mean, like
hmm,
they took on, social justice and racism with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think they handled it as good as you can with a comic book,
yeah,
setting. Like you're not going to have anything that's going to be huge gravitas, but
hmm,
at least acknowledge the seriousness of the subject that you're handling. Yeah.
yeah. You still have to make it accessible. And sometimes I see like they hint at something, but they don't delve into it. So, like in Iron Man, they kind of delved into Tony Stark's struggle with alcoholism, but they didn't go there. It's almost like they still want to have the general audience feel and accessibility to it without appealing strictly to the comic book nerds or strictly to the people who like action or drama or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You look at the success of Thor Ragnarok, they made a little delve into comedy. To me, it kind of took away from Love and Thunder a little bit because whereas you have a serious topic such as cancer, it could have been a little more serious about that. But, that's just a personal opinion. I'm going to quote one of your tweets here.
Oh, good.
Okay, I got to read this. And I quote, as a comic book nerd, I'm trying to relax into MCU being able to interpret comics however they see fit. So, compared to the comics, do you like what they've borrowed and the changes that they've made? Being, probably inferior in a lot of cases, but still, did you like the adaptations for what they were?
Yeah, for the most part, some of the things that I haven't liked have been maybe just I don't want to say nitpicky. Like my issue with the one of my biggest issues was with Taskmaster in Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
I think they really kind of nerfed the character and punted away what I mean. Now there's a good possibility that character can be brought back later on and they can change something, but I really felt like there was a that character was you had good things about that character in the comics, that to narrow it down to just a suit,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a day and age when they're trying to bring forth the women into the MC, like you have the people of color and ethnicities and the female perspective of it. to have just taken her and instead of let her be somebody with the ability to mimic on her own and to just nerf her down to a suit like that irritated me. Can they
Yeah.
change that down the road? Sure. Will they? Who knows,
Who
but
knows?
I don't it'll be like nitpicky things like that. I don't expect them to be able to bring everything that was in the comics into the movies. I think the movies should be a place where you're like, oh, that was really interesting. And for comic book nerds to be like, oh, I recognize this and I know what they're trying to do here and they're touching on this. And if you're not, maybe it'll make you want to go read the comic series that came.
Hmm.
I think it's a win-win either way. I think if you're allowed to not gatekeep and try to make them like nothing is going to be done to the way you want it. And if you don't like it, then come up with your own production company, come up with your own.
Exactly.
You're like, I
Exactly.
just like, to me, it's always been like, just shut up and appreciate the art that you're given. And if you don't like it, do what Jordan Peele did. He didn't like that there weren't a lot of people of color given suspense movies and horror movies. He came up with a great product and he filled that niche.
Yeah.
Instead of complaining about it, he filled the niche.
Hmm. I
So
remember my thought that I was going to say earlier. A lot of people feel like they have to see all the shows and they have to have watched the first 20 whatever movies in order to feel up to date. And I made the comparison that it's really like reading comics. It's like you have the main storyline, let's say something like Secret Wars. You have the main comic book line, but then you have these side stories going on in those separate comics. And will they help? Yeah. Do you need to necessarily read all of them, or in the case of MCU, watch all of them? No. Most stories, like we said before, are pretty much in a bow. So it's like you can take it for what it is, but it just adds to the experience if you know the backstory, or in the case of being a comic book reader, if you know the origin or if you know the more completed story. But it doesn't take out of the movie at all or take out of the show. I made the comparison of WandaVision. If I didn't see WandaVision, would I have been lost in Doctor Strange? No, no. Multiverse of Madness would have been what it is, but it adds to it having seen WandaVision.
absolutely. Yeah. And I think I always make the joke on Twitter and on social media that if you don't have a nerd in your life, you don't have a comic book nerd in your life, it's time to adopt one. Like
Go
you
get one. They're
Yeah,
out
like
there.
go get one. We were very underutilized in our youth
Hmm.
and growing up, and we're mocked and
Yeah.
tweets and stuff about our. Well, go out and get yourself one, and they can fill you in on everything that you might have missed during the movie. Like, and maybe and hopefully make you enjoy it and appreciate it even more. That it's like, oh, those were all the things that were added in that I had no idea about. Instead of
Yeah.
feeling left out, go get yourself a nerd who's not
Yeah.
like doesn't look down on you for not knowing it, who is willing to help you and guide you through the
Hmm.
MCU journey.
Yeah. There's go Facebook friend somebody from high school that you never spoke to before. More than likely, they were into comic books, and that's why you didn't talk to them.
That's right.
And they could catch you up, or fill in the blanks for you.
Right. Exactly. I tell people that all the time. It's like make sure you have a nerd in your life that'll help. I think everybody should have you should never be the smartest person in the room. You should always have someone else that
Very
you
true.
defer to for information, for somebody for sports, for comics, for
Hmm.
anything and everything. Just have somebody you can pick their brain about. Yeah.
Or subscribe to you because you're all those things.
Yes, or subscribe to me, follow me on everything because I touch on everything except for the really, really heated topics, which I stay far away from because
Yeah, I'm not important enough for you to want my opinion on that stuff, whatever that
no,
is.
I'm not. I'm
No.
also just not a flamethrower. I'm just not. It's no, yeah.
Yeah.
Just enjoy yourself.
So talking, we just said WandaVision and Moon Knight. Do you have a favorite show?
I really liked. hmm, I really liked WandaVision, but I mean, then again, I also really liked Loki. But they were for all for different reasons. Like
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated all the different things that each of the shows or movies has made you think about. Like WandaVision was very much ironically at a time where I had just lost my dog that I had had for 14
Oh,
years. He was like, who was my vision to my Scarlet Witch kind of thing. Like he was my
mm-hmm.
everything. And that show was on during the time that that was all going on. So
Yeah,
to have a show that was dealing with grief in such a devastating way, and it it was there. It was there for me at that time where it was like you understood, okay, I don't have to stop crying because of
yeah.
Vision's wonderful line that he brought forth.
Oh my gosh, don't make me. Don't make
I'm
me. I'm
not, because
about to.
I'll end up crying if I say it right now because I'm thinking about
I'm
my
like right
Norman and I'm
there.
like,
Because you're talking about it, and I'm like, oh man, that one line. And then you made a reference to it. I know I hate top fives, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Top five Marvel movies.
ooh,
Don't have to rank them, just five of them.
okay, five of them. Well, oh man, I'm gonna put the Thor: Love and Thunder here. I'm gonna put that as my I'm gonna put it actually as six, just because I don't want the newness of it to
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
But
Recency bias.
right, but I did love it. I think maybe it was the Guns N' Roses soundtrack, but that
Yes.
I am very much a music with visuals kind of person, and that
Hmm.
I loved it. Doctor Strange, I feel like it's a highly underrated Marvel movie.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one.
Okay.
Uh, Infinity War, I love the build up to disaster stuff. So I'm always like one
Hmm.
of those that like loves Jaws before you see Jaws kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Doctor Strange, Infinity War, man, I do love Civil War. I do love the conflict. I do love conflict movies,
Yeah.
especially when there's no great resolution at the end, no little, nice, everything's been tied up in a bow. I'm trying to think of actually of all of them that have been out.
I know. I mean, it's only 20 some odd movies.
Right. Gosh, I probably Black Panther.
Hmm.
I was to say I was devastated the night he died is an understatement. That is
You and I both. You and I both. Wow.
we're being the same age as him.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that I it took me a long, long, long time to be able to even rewatch the movies that he was in. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably Black Panther just for the nostalgia for him. Am I'm very excited about seeing how they handle all this. Man, I'm trying to think of everything that's been I did like the Multiverse of Madness. I had some issues with that just for a just selfish reasons. I think it was weird that they wouldn't have that it's when he got back from his little adventure that he wouldn't have tried to track down the Illuminati. That wouldn't have been his
Right.
first order of business, but maybe that'll be addressed later. Oh gosh, can I? It's a Marvel movie, but it's not in the MCU. But Logan is probably one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. I think it's
I'll
it's
allow it.
actually a very, very difficult one to watch over and over again. It's
Hmm.
oh yeah, it's gut wrenching. Yeah, so yeah, I mean if I can, yeah, I mean like I said, he's not MCU, but I think that is I think that should almost be the standard of what they try to reach of all time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm trying to think because I hate when people ask me questions, but they don't have an answer for it themselves. So I'm trying to think. My problem is I break it down by phases in my head.
Sure.
And I would start with most recently, Shang-Chi. I enjoyed
Okay.
that the most. Um, Going back, I would I would agree, Infinity War more than Endgame. Um, there's a few times that I go to the movies and the audience reaction makes me happy to be in the theater with a large audience.
Sure.
Um, you could say like a horror movie with jump scares, that's one thing, but things like It, Get Out, those are two most recent examples. But the silence and then
Yes.
the sobbing that followed during
Yes.
Infinity War, that
Yes.
that and then of course the opposite of it was On Your Left during Endgame.
Yes. Yeah. Portals.
I, I
Hmm.
I go on YouTube and watch other audience
Yeah.
reactions to it, and I said it, and it's like
Yeah.
chills,
Yeah.
chills. Um, because it surprised me, Guardians, the first one, because
Okay.
I expected nothing from that
Sure.
movie, nothing. Um, and I know I'm missing one, but I'll say my favorite out of all of them, not Civil War, but Winter Soldier.
Oh,
And I
okay.
and I think it's just the brotherhood aspect of it
Mhm.
between Cap and Bucky. It
Which
to me is like
ironically,
so good.
I think um Anthony
They
Mackie and Sebastian Stan actually have a better dynamic than like I
acting wise, I could see that.
yeah, like the show was I love that show. That
Yeah,
was the interaction between them and their chemistry was, I think, if you don't have that chemistry, you have nothing.
yeah. Sebastian Stan is a great actor. I think he should be in more things for the way he acts. You
Right.
know. Um, okay, here's the one comic book nerdy question I have for you. Um, who's the most powerful character or characters that has been introduced into the MCU, and why is it the Timekeepers?
Well, they are, well, they're not the one above all, but they are
Mm-hmm.
so far. But well,
Created by the one above all.
actually, I would say if you're gonna do who's been introduced in the MCU so far, we would actually have to probably go with Kang, because I mean, he kind of does.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
he kind of does. Kind of get rid of.
Yeah, which is what is kind of like just thinking about the future phases 5 and 6. They're going to underutilize him. They're going to make him like another Thanos.
Well,
I have
they
this really, really bad feeling that you're not going to see the true might of him.
which again, they
It's going to
really
be like
did.
sanitized Kang.
But to think about it, they did that absolutely to Scarlet Witch. I mean, you only got a hint. Even I would say even the Multiverse of Madness didn't even show you how powerful she was. It didn't even show you how
It's
powerful she
true.
was. Nothing has topped the scene with her and Thanos squaring off in Endgame. Like that is the
Mm-hmm.
blink and you miss it kind of scene, but that is a brief moment where you got to see literally how terrifying she is and that she can terrify someone bigger than her that you would have considered more powerful than her.
Mm-hmm.
Even then I she has been so you almost expect it, but again they can't. It's so hard to bring that kind of enormity to screen to
Yeah.
you. It's so you know what's going to happen. I actually just want to enjoy seeing him on the screen. I think his episode in Loki was you couldn't tear your eyes from it.
Yeah.
He was it was magnetic. He was electric in that scene. He was just like you just wanted to watch him over and over again describe his evolution to be sitting there in that chair. It was so even just to be able to watch him, just see what they do with him.
Mm-hmm.
I say give him the reins, let him go.
And Jonathan Majors is a boss. I love anything he's in, so this should be really, really good. Talking about that, I saw you posted a couple things from Comic Con as far as phases 5 and 6. What do you think about the announcements, and what are you really, really looking forward to?
Ooh. Um, I'm looking forward to how they're going to tie it all in together. I
Mm-hmm.
remember something being said by Feige early on that the last Avengers movie was the last big Avengers movie, so I was kind of surprised to see Avengers. I forgot the
Kang Dynasty.
yeah, and then there was the other. I forgot the other one that was mentioned too. So I was kind of surprised to see that. I don't I don't know because like you had so many characters in that in game Infinity War and Endgame, and now you
Hmm.
have even almost you're getting to the point now where you almost have triple that, with the shows and
Yeah.
stuff. So I don't know if somebody's and I don't mind if people are left out. I mean, that's in the normal comics that what not everybody you mean except for a few storylines. So I look forward to I actually look forward to D23 here next
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Trying to see if they kind of square everything up just a little bit more and seeing how what comes out for that. But yeah, I look forward to it all. I really do. I'll watch it all. I'll watch every show. I'll watch
Yeah.
every movie. I I look forward to it. I hurry up and try to read the storyline that I think that they'll try to touch on before I go see it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Talking about that, what's a storyline that you would like to see them bring to the big screen?
I really wish they would have done House of M. I
Yeah.
I
They
feel
had the
like
opportunity with
yeah,
WandaVision and everything, but
but I'm also kind of glad they didn't because I didn't want her to be wholly responsible for the bringing in of mutants.
mm,
I want her
yeah.
to whisper a line and all of a sudden there were mutants. I think that would have kind of pooped on the idea of mutants that they were just a creation of her mind and her reality. So I'm like I understand it because you hadn't had the mutants out there that
Hmm.
you kind of couldn't do the House of M storyline and it makes sense. So but I think that one is I think if you haven't read that storyline that is a it's a phenomenal it's a mind twist. It's great. It's a great story.
Yeah.
And kind of devastating at the same time. So yeah.
Hmm.
I wish I would have done that one, but I get it.
Yeah. Mutation. Doo-doo-doo-doo. I have one more question before we do the five takes. And this is just a general movie question. So, besides the obvious answer of I get to see free movies and I see them before you, what do you enjoy about being a movie promoter and movie reviewer?
Um, Probably that it's gotten me outside of my genre of movies that I
Hmm.
always stuck to. I am not a I don't know what the like the bibliophiles read. I don't know what them
Cinephile.
yeah, I still don't consider myself one. I would never. I'm always pleasantly surprised by what something that I don't think I would have ever seen on my own, or whether it be streaming, watching it on cable, anything.
Hmm.
That's been the neatest part is to be surprised by things that I never would have seen on my own.
Did you do a review for When the Crawdads Sing?
I did for TV.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't do one. I don't think I
Because you
did
said
one.
outside of your typical genre, and that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, well, like the Channing Tatum dog movie, like I never would have
Yeah.
turned that on, and that was a surprisingly really good movie. Like
Huh.
so, like I never would have seen that on my own. So, kind of, I don't want to say being forced to go see him, but certainly it's having the opportunity to be able to go see it and not have any money on the line as far
Yeah.
as it being a waste of my time has been nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to get back into it. I miss it every once in a while, but I don't know. That's the easy part because I do it for written reviews. So I could see something like a week early and then it's like, okay, this keyboard is not going to work by itself. Got to
Right.
put fingers to it.
Yeah,
And
thankfully
yeah.
I don't have that like up until like this newer thing that I'm doing on Saturdays, there was no pressure for me to have a review. Like I was always
Yeah.
even kind of surprised when people wanted to know my take on a movie. I was like, I don't know, half the time I'd walk out of the movie and be like, like it's okay. I didn't pay for it. What do I mean, it's like Either
Yeah.
it was a waste of my time or I was entertained for 120 minutes. So
Yeah. All right. Ready to do the five takes?
sure.
All right. So, number one, name the film that made you fall in love with the movies.
What's the movies? I don't know if there is one. I would have to say my favorite movies just I mean, even till now are Die Hard and Predator. Um,
Hmm.
those are my go-to movies. I can turn them on anytime. So I don't know if there's anything ever that I don't think there's ever been anything that's made me fall in love. I'm more of a reader than I am a watcher. So
Yeah.
I, yeah, I don't know if there's any one movie that has done that.
Did you watch Prey? What did you think
I
if you did?
did. Actually, I just watched it today.
Pleasantly surprised on my end.
Pleasantly surprised. It was a
Yeah.
very, very good. And when he uttered the line of "If it bleeds,
Mm.
we can kill it," I was like,
Yep.
"Y'all
So,
did it."
yeah. All right. So you said Predator, Die Hard. Name five of your films. So that's two. Three more.
Ooh. I don't. It would have to be a Marvel movie. I
That's
would.
okay.
I would probably put Infinity War in there. Maybe probably a Logan. Oh gosh, I don't know because in that means I'd have to watch it. I'd want it like there just to know that it existed, but like never have to like watch it again. Oh man, there's I don't. It's the minute you ask that, it's like
That's why I don't say the five films because that changes like the days. So it's like five of your. So any five.
oh well. I mean, right now, like I would love to see Bullet Train again. I
That
had
was fun.
much fun watching that movie. That was great. Like, yeah, Bullet Train was, yeah, that would have to, I actually liked Elvis this year too. I was kind of surprised I wouldn't put it, in those movies, but I was pleasantly surprised by that one too. Expected to be much more of a musical.
Yeah.
And I think the kid, that Austin Butler, I think he nailed it.
Yeah.
Oof, I don't
I
know.
I
I'm
think
more of a
he
documentary person. Like that's what's
that's
sad.
fine.
Like Ken Burns' Civil War,
Yeah.
um, the Revolution on the History Channel. Like it's like
Did
that's
you see
30 for 30s,
oh
all
my
of them.
gosh. Oh yeah, yeah. Needless to say, I'm currently watching Jeter, of course.
All right.
I only got through one episode so far, but let's continue. Number three, name a classic movie that everyone loves but you can't stand.
um, it would. I don't know if there's a specific title, but I would have to say any kind of romantic movie or rom-com. I am not a fan of those. Like I am
So half of Sandra Bullock's movie career.
right. Which actually, I again, I didn't mind the Lost City.
That
It
was
was
good.
okay.
Yeah.
I just I've never seen The Notebook. It interests me none.
Mm-hmm.
um,
I
I
watched it a couple of years ago when I was going through a Gosling phase.
uh, yeah,
I'd still rather watch Drive though.
like. I know like people go ape over Avatar. I don't. It's like it was all right. It was okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes when movies get a little too preachy for me, I can't like. I'm like, okay, I got it. Like, but like I start to think, okay, but make something explode. Let's get on the entertainment here.
Okay. How about let's flip it? Critically hated movie that everyone loves. That you love. A critically hated movie that you love.
Critically, I don't know
There's a
how.
lot if you like action movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I know like I don't think the Godzilla and King Kong movies that have come out lately
Hmm.
have been like widely, like everybody's like love them, but I kind of like I kind of like those. Hobbs and Shaw, I kind of really enjoyed.
Really?
Yeah, I know it. They make no sense in the greater Fast and Furious universe, I remember
Uh-huh.
my daughter at one point we were it was before the Fast Furious 9 had come out. I think it was last year, the year before. And we had never seen any of them. So we were trying to catch up that entire weekend before we went and saw 9. And when you watch the first one, she was like, how do we get from here to Idris Elba being a super soldier? She's like, where is it? What have we missed in this universe to get us from point A to point B? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I enjoy those like those terrible Transformer movies and
Oh,
Anaconda and all
grown
those like
girl.
all those just bad Michael Bay movies, and
Mayhem.
except Ambulance. That one almost gave me a heart attack. I didn't like that.
I'll I'll tell you this. I was sitting at the edge of my seat, literally watching certain parts of Ambulance, and I'm like, why am I? Oh my gosh, I'm really into this movie.
It
By
was
the way, King Kong versus Godzilla, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes.
okay.
I know. I
I
know.
mean, good. Like I love that. I
Surprised
like
me
the
too.
Skull Islands and all those. I'm that's I enjoy that. Those I enjoy those. Those are no, there's nothing like. I mean, there's no like Scorsese. I
Yeah.
I don't need the meaning of life. I just need to be entertained for 2 hours. Like,
And this might be the hardest question for you altogether. Who would you like to see me have a conversation with on this channel?
me again, naturally.
Well, that's the obvious. Then we could talk about something totally different.
That's right. We like
So, someone besides you.
to.
What other movie lovers do you know out there?
The Tony Masello that I actually do my movie reviews for here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Um, Tony is very, very smart. He's one of the smartest cinephiles. And he's been at this a lot longer than what I have.
Hmm.
Yeah, he knows his stuff. Yeah. I'd like to
Mm.
say I think he elevates me in my thinking. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
All right. Part of that is you have to help me get on the show now.
Oh, I think
Yeah.
that'd be probably easier than what you realize. Yeah.
That'll be good, especially if we could do it like around fall time, because that's kind of like the lull before the action, all the movies that are going to get the consideration for
Right.
award season. That's when they come out.
Hmm.
So I think that'll be a good time to do that. So we'll follow up and I'll
Sure.
ask you to do it then.
Sure. Sure. I think he'd be more than gracious to do it. Yeah.
But until then, I want to thank you for your time today.
Welcome. Thanks for having
It's
me.
it's been a long time coming, not for nothing.
It has been. It's been
Yeah.
years. Like, yeah. Yeah. How long have we followed each other?
Oh my
Years.
gosh. I think just to put it out there, I think since the Chive days.
Probably like 7. Yeah. So you're about 7, 8 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But one of these days I gotta get over to the Louvre, or maybe you could come over on this side and we could do a day, see a movie, have some low calorie drinks, and gorge out on some good food somewhere. I think it'll be a fun time.
Yeah. Come in for a baseball game.
I do love that stadium. Not for nothing. Bush Stadium is a beautiful place to watch a game, even if you're
It
not a
is.
fan.
That's right.
Tell the people where they could find you.
I am on Twitter at holy_Elle. I am also on Instagram, same name. I also have my fitness page, Holy Elle Fit, on Instagram. I have my websites, holyelle.com, holyellfit.com. I am on TikTok as the_holyelle. I I have YouTube too, I think. Yeah, I guess I've got
Yeah.
that. I I'm
You
ever
are the reluctant
You will
movie
have to avoid me
reviewer.
at this point.
Yeah, you are the reluctant movie reviewer. That should be the name of your channel.
I have it as movie. I think it's movie buff right now, but I am the reluctant critic. I occasionally will give something a bad review, like Easter Sunday.
And what's this TV show about? What are you talking about?
Movies. Um,
Okay.
we get
When and where?
oh gosh, it's local Saturday mornings, 5:30 a.m. You have to DVR it. Nobody's awake. Channel 11, here in St. Louis. Yeah, we, me, James, and Tony, recap the movies we've seen that are coming out that week.
Cool.
Hmm.
I might have to have somebody over there record it for me.
Yeah, it's they. I try to post the clips from that he posts on YouTube. I try to get them onto my website,
Hmm.
to let everybody see them that don't live here in the area. Mhm.
Cool. I will put all that information down in the description, and
Thank you.
I will hopefully see you soon.
I will see you soon too.